What about the contingency plan here, or the emergency plan? I mean, for the new CEO, wouldn't be there an emergency plan to cope with during the problem or the period where he will have a problem? And
you're talking about doing a risk analysis.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like a darn good idea. It doesn't sound like it was done here.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right? Everything was going to be well until it went, right?
Hi, David. Thank you very much.
Afwan.
If you don't mind, we'll just go back to Yusuf's point about conflict of interest. Okay, nowadays they're pursuing different kind of measures in order to overcome the problem of conflict of interest. Things like corporate governance, things like, issue of preference share and things to do with internal accountability and transparency. I don't know if we can shed some lights on these areas.
Well, one of the things that I think is an issue. Let me give an example to again one of our clients. Okay, another nameless company, is that they were basically splitting off a chunk of their company to be investing in something else, and they were forming a board, right? And it turns out that the board had absolutely, positively no expertise in running that industry segment. Not a zip. And as a consequence of that, they were making some really bad decisions. And so what our recommendation was that they bring in subject matter experts as not as consultants to the board, but as board members. See, that's one of the changes what has really occurred. Board members in the US are under increasing scrutiny to be active contributors. So they may have expertise in certain areas, not simply just passively represent a branch of the family kind of a situation. If you want to use an extreme example, if you go to the board of directors of any biotech company, you will find people who are on the board that have both PhDs and they're doctors, that are geneticists, that are public. Yes. And so this is talking just about, okay, I represent a power center. It's I bring expertise to the board in finance, in marketing, in sales, in technical things, administration stuff, whatever. And I know that's not that common around here, but that's actually where you get boards to make good decisions. Forgetting board governance process, it's actually putting people with expertise in that area on the board itself.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have you come across the issue of preference share here in this area?
I don't know enough about that to say. So I can't answer that one. You have to talk to somebody in the legal department or who doesn't work with a title will or something that would know that.
Thank you.
Okay. He's telling me we have to shut up.
No, I'm saying that. Yes.
Hello. Good evening. I'm here.
Oh,
My name is Hanan.
Hi.
Okay. My question is, what's the risk for the company of firing the CEO for this at the same stage of what he said, Mr. Khalid?
You see, that's a tough one, because who's going to clean up the mess, right? Sometimes the people who have to clean up the mess are the ones who made it, and they're the only ones who can make it. You may not like it, okay? But you may have to keep those people on board who caused the problems, because they're the only people who can fix it.
Okay, do you think he has the right to fire the CEO with this situation?
I certainly think he has the right to do so. I think that he should have either have had better communication with him a long time ago and potentially fired him a long time ago. You know, unless he wants a yes man, right? Yeah, if he wants a yes man, haras, no problem. Okay?
What about, you're talking about yes man. But what happens if he's not a yes man, but he's, he comes up with thoughts. I don't like him, but he's making sense. You see, I'm talking about the other side of
Yeah.
it. We always been talking about yes man. Yes man, life usually is short because he will not do the job and the company will, but it has to be somebody that can talk to the family, the owners, and tell them, yes, okay, this is the way it should be. Then they say, hey, well, you know, before they get mad enough to fire him, he says, well, yes, I think you're right, but let us look at it from the other side.
Yeah, no. But, I mean,
Yes.
it's
But do
just
it.
because you have new ideas does not mean you have to be abrasive, right? Doesn't mean you have to be mean, doesn't mean you have to yell, doesn't mean you have to shout. You know, you don't have to do those things. But there's still a point where someone new may be coming up with some ideas, and no matter how politically sensitive they are, no matter how well they get along with the family's not going to like it. And the question is, are you willing to is the comfort of the family more important than the profitability of the company? Or is the profitability going to be more important than the immediate happiness of the family? There has to be a balance somewhere, but it can't be one or the other. There has to be a balance in there somewhere.
I think there is an important issue we are ignoring maybe in your speech, which is the issue of risk. Because any business, any risk is associated with any kind of business. So, for example, maybe the COO did his best to make this line of business very successful. But of course, we are living in a very rapidly changing environment and the competition is very tough. So maybe due to these situations and the uncertainty, maybe the business fails.
Right.
So that means maybe we should not put the blame on the CEO, but due, for example, the surrounding environment and the competition. So to what extent we can differentiate between the capability of the CEO and the surrounding environment, which are external factors that might affect.
Yeah, you could
the
be
business
bringing
of
in.
the company.
You could be bringing in a CEO simply to let somebody be blamed for a problem. Oh, it's his problem, right? Okay, we brought him in. It failed. It's all his fault. It's not our family fault, right? And you got to be very careful about that. On the other hand, think about it. What is the risk for not bringing a new person in? Because the risk can be on either side. It's on either side at all.
Okay, I think maybe because it's taking a long time, so people so maybe you would like to conclude.
Yeah, I'll conclude. Anyway, I want to thank you.
No.
Not that kind of thing. This is the summary kind of conclude. Okay. One last question.
I just would like to have only very short comment. Any business family that they cannot produce from within the family a CEO of their own, I don't think that family will carry on in, success. If they cannot make their own and they bring an outsider, so it does not mean that family will survive. This is my idea, and it is only if it is necessary to bring a CEO, same like what I heard in Heinz, the ketchup business, only when it is necessary. It is not a prestige to bring, somebody and put him as a CEO. Just, okay, we want to have more fun and we want to go, let's say, for vacation or just to get away from the responsibility. This is business, family business. They have to succeed in producing, generation after generation to keep the business going. As you said, you are bringing an outsider, and every business family, they have their own secrets, so you are exposing. Because you are not talking to accounting level or marketing level. The CEO has all the secrets. Otherwise, he cannot fulfill his duties.
Yeah, and I could comment on that for a long while, but just to make it short, though, is it's not just a matter of the capability of the family; it's the matter of willingness. Is that I was talking to somebody in the last few days, and in his particular case, none of his children, they may be capable of taking his position, none of them want it. Okay? None of them want it. So he has to talk about bringing in someone else if he wants the business to continue. So no more questions?
I think it's making a very important point, and this is whereby families usually try to have one member of the family that can take on the job. And a lot of families try to do an outsider, and then they find it doesn't work, so they bring another one of their own to be the CEO, but actually the CEO is another CEO, but the family, if you like, CEO, will be the one who will be working with this outside CEO, if you like. Then you have this balance that he's talking about. But on the other hand, the situation that what you're saying is that if somebody, he has no choice other than, but a lot of people are, that has in between, but you don't have capable people who can take the job. This is where it comes in. And now you have a lot of people, but right at the beginning, they should have trained them to come into the jobs done properly, like the Zamel and a lot of the people, Sreya and all these families that they have done it. So they have done it in that way. But there are others, like the Ulayan, they don't have a CEO, but Lubna, his sister, the Ulayan, she is not the CEO, but she's certainly watching, make sure that he is done correctly.
Yeah.
So the balance is really what he wants. You have a family business that is running, you bring a CEO, and you watch that he's not going to screw you up by not doing the thing. Sometimes they become very, I will do the job, without forgetting about the family. When they get together, why am I talking? You're supposed to be the
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, Mr. Khalid, if I may comment here, I mean, on the question of leaving it within the family itself, I think there is one misconception here, that the family CEO will keep the status quo. The CEO will take the company to a new level. That's where the CEO becomes a, important for the family business. You want to keep the status quo? Okay, family. Don't bring anybody else. You want to go to the next level? Okay, quadruple your bottom line. Place the company, then a CEO will be needed.
Yeah, and just to finish up with this, you can but this is that you got to realize something, is that if a CEO fails, that doesn't mean that that person is a failure. People can make the right decisions for the right reasons, and still things don't work. And so you have to be willing to let them fail. Now, if they keep on failing them, bye. Okay? But you don't want, at the first sign of things not going well, to fire them. Okay? That's not what they're there for. Nobody's perfect. right? And if you want to bring the company to the next level, like what you're talking about, that means you have to take risk. And what risk means is the possibility of failure. And that's okay.
And high risk sometimes is more profit.
You got it. Okay, you know that. You go where your company, where somebody else is not, and sometimes that can be some interesting places.
If you've got a proper governance structure in place and you've got collective decision making at the board level, I mean, you are involving each and every person of the family to kind of put their case on in not a subjective manner, but a very objective, scientific manner. And you've got to get the ground rules clear, and that's exactly what should happen in family businesses, where the governance structure should be made so robust, where every person has a decision contributing ability. Because at the end of the day, the ball falls into the CEO's lap in terms of the bottom line.
Okay. And in that particular case, that in of itself would be a major change of how boards operate.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you see, what we're kind of getting to is you really have to have a good board, okay, for the CEO to be successful. You have to have a good CEO for the board to be successful.
It's part of change management again.
Yeah, it is very much part of change management. That's for sure. Okay, you have and if you want a very bad case study on that, look at Hewlett-Packard. Their board was so dysfunctional so many times, and hired and fired so many CEOs, from Carla Fiorina to Mr. Hurd and so on that way, because there was so much infighting going on in the board. If you ever look at the Wall Street Journal talk about the Hewlett-Packard board, I mean, they were just in all-out brawls. You know, and you kind of wonder at that circumstance. The final word for all of this is that think carefully, think clearly about what you want to do, and then go do it. Okay? If you do that, you're still going to fail, but you have a better chance of succeeding if you don't go through it. You stack the deck in your favor by going through a transition plan, by thinking clearly in terms of what you want, by thinking about a clear succession plan in terms of CEO going by, and so forth and so on. It's no guarantee of success. Okay? This is a very problematic kind of thing, all right? But you significantly increase the chances of you getting success if you do it. And in business, if I can increase my odds for success, I'm going to be a whole lot happier, that's for sure. Okay? Anyway, thank you, folks. I appreciate that.